Coming up on today's show, auto industry experts in the Tier 1 parts supply say that most automakers are going to move to 800-volt EV architectures by 2025. Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe sounds the warning bells over EV battery shortages, and GM kills the Chevrolet Spark EV. Sort of, by announcing it's no longer going to stock replacement battery packs just 5 years after the last ones rolled off the production line. These stories and more coming next. This is EcoTEC's EcoTEC Roundup show from New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to EVs in New Zealand. Switch today at ecotecity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the world of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. The majority of electric vehicles being produced today make use of 400-volt architectures, meaning their battery packs sit at around a nominal voltage of 400 volts. But in recent years, cars like the Porsche Taycan, Hyundai Ioniq 5, Audi e-tron GT and EV6 from Kia have launched with 800-volt architectures, and platforms like GM's Ultium are also based on that same voltage. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of 800-volt architectures here, but 800-volt cars can charge far more quickly at DC quick charging stations than 400-volt cars, assuming that is, the station can operate at 800 volts. This week, Tier 1 parts suppliers confirm that the majority of the auto industry will switch to 800-volt architectures by 2025. We've got an entire tech explainer on the way from Kate into 800-volt batteries, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. The very same week we were test driving the Mercedes-Benz EQS 580 4MATIC here at the channel, the car's bigger sibling, the EQS SUV, was launched online. Revealed during a special online event, the EQS SUV is built on the same platform as the EQS sedan, but sits significantly higher than the EQS in order to offer the kind of load carrying and interior space you would expect in an SUV. There's a choice of 5 or 7 seat layout, a rear or all-wheel drive, and for all-wheel drive variants, a choice of 2 different powertrain outputs, 265 kilowatts or 400 kilowatts. Charging is very similar to the EQS, with a maximum 200 kilowatt CCS plug-and-charge compatibility as standard. Range is estimated to sit somewhere around the 373-mile, 600-kilometre mark based on Benz's internal estimates, and it will enter into production later this year at the company's new US production facility. As usual, pricing will come in the near future, so watch this space. This week, Tesla released its quarterly financials as well as held its earnings call for Q1, and Elon Musk was in attendance. I'm not going to rehash everything that took place because we've already covered it in our Tesla News Roundup show from earlier in the week. I'll link to it below, but it's worth touching base on some comments Musk made during the earnings call about Tesla's yet unnamed robotaxi vehicle, a vehicle which Tesla is designing with no traditional controls. Musk had announced the vehicle during Tesla's Cyber Rodeo event earlier this month, but during the earnings call doubled down on the vehicle, stating that, quote, "it is fundamentally optimized to achieve the lowest fully considered cost per mile or kilometre when counting everything," end quote. Musk went on to say that he believes it will cost less than a subsidised bus ticket. We are very eager to see the maths on that one. As Rivian ramps up production of its R1T electric pickup and R1S electric SUV, we're starting to see more and more examples on the road. And I know several of you guys have reached out to us to let us know that you've either already got yours or you're about to. But this week, company founder and CEO RJ Scaringe warned the automotive industry is barreling headfirst into a brand new shortage that could make the current microprocessor chip shortage look small. What is it? You've guessed it, EV battery cells. Talking to the Wall Street Journal, RJ said that the world's lithium-ion cell production currently represents less than 10% of what the industry will need in 10 years' time. Looking forward, he warned, the order of magnitude larger battery crisis could last for 2 entire decades. Elon Musk recently tweeted about the prices of lithium, joking this week during the Tesla earnings call that going into the mining business for EV batteries is akin to printing money. If the challenges aren't solved, it could really hamper our transition to EVs. BMW has officially revealed the 2023 BMW 7 Series, with the all-electric i7 xDrive 60 treated at the reveal as the most important 7 Series variant. The electric version of the Executive full-size sedan retains the oh-so-massive kidney grille of recent BMWs, even though it doesn't actually need one, with a high-mounted narrow matrix headlight with optional crystal headlights available as an upgrade to create, quote, a light effect unmatched by any other car, end quote. The interior will be familiar to anyone who's spent any amount of time with the iX and has all of the features you'd expect of a high-end car, including automatic doors. 400 kilowatt all-wheel drive is standard with a claimed 590 plus kilometers, 366 miles on the WLTP range cycle. The i7 will be the only 7 Series on sale in Europe, but it is hard to take BMW seriously about going electric when it plans to sell ICE variants of the 7 Series in other markets, namely North America and China. Not to be outdone with all the other reveals happening this week, Audi pulled the covers off its Urbansphere concept, the latest in a series of concepts to have the Sphere moniker. Audi is portraying the car as something of a lounge on wheels with an ultra-plush interior and plenty of space to relax. Seats swivel, as they do in pretty much every other autonomous concept we've seen in the last decade. But what's new is a privacy screen designed to let you shun your fellow occupants when you just want some peace and quiet. It's pretty clear nothing like this will ever enter into production, especially with no B-pillar and rear coach doors, but I've got to say the fact that this looks like an oversized wagon reminds me of how we need more electric wagons in the EV marketplace, or estates for those in the UK. Fancy, unachievable concept cars might be fun, but making something other than SUVs would really be great. Tesla's superchargers are unquestionably the most reliable and easily recognised high-power charging station solution for electric cars in the world, but until recently they were unusable for owners of non-Tesla EVs. Luckily, that's changing, with Tesla allowing non-Tesla EVs to use superchargers in Europe and North America, starting the process of planning non-Tesla specific superchargers that other cars can use. This week, we learned that a Texan grant program that was offering $21 million to help expand the Lone Star State's EV charging provision rejected an application by Tesla to fund 4 brand-agnostic Tesla superchargers. It also rejected bids by ChargePoint and EVgo. But because of this all, we have learned that Tesla's application has shown that it's now installing high-power superchargers at 1/5 of the cost that other charging providers are using to install their charging infrastructure. It's not clear why Tesla didn't get the money, but it shows it really leads everyone else on cost. The first they ignore you, then they laugh at you quote, so often misattributed to Gandhi, is nevertheless an astute observation of how the auto industry has responded to EVs. And according to quotes made by BMW sales chief Pietro Nota this week, BMW is now at the fighting stage after ignoring and then laughing at Tesla for some time. Talking to Automotive World this week, the executive said that the company believes, quote, Tesla had a unique selling point for some time, that's over, end quote. Bolstered by full order books and a long wait list, and with a combined sales that appear to be bouncing back, BMW thinks it has Tesla in its sights. But as Inside EVs noted in its coverage of those fighting words, BMW trailed Tesla's vehicle registrations in the US in the first 2 months of this year by just over 17,000 vehicles, and that includes BMW's internal combustion engine models as well as its plug-ins. It is great to see more competition to Tesla, and personally, I think competition will ensure Tesla and others stay on their toes. But let's ditch the grand talk, eh? Sales first, then promises and proclamations. A few weeks ago, Lexus teased the RZ 450e all-electric model ahead of the vehicle's official reveal. And as I opined a few weeks ago, press photos showed it with a steering yoke. But this week, when the car had its official debut, the yoke was mysteriously missing, replaced instead with a traditional wheel. Apparently, though, it is coming. According to the automaker, the RZ 450e, which is based on the very same platform as the Toyota BZ4X and Subaru Solterra, will eventually be offered with a completely steer-by-wire system, which means no mechanical connection between wheels and steering. When that happens, a 150-degree lock-to-lock control will be possible, which in turn will make a steering yoke not only possible, but practical. I am no Yoke fan, but that's a far better implementation than the one Tesla currently has. It is no secret that Elon Musk hates the SEC, especially since he's now infamous. Going private at 420, funding secured tweets got him in hot water with said regulator. This week, just in time for 420 Day, we learned via Reuters that a federal judge ruled on April 1st that Musk's original tweets about said private deal were, quote, false and misleading, end quote, adding that it, quote, held that he recklessly made the statements with knowledge as to their falsity, end quote. That's according to investors currently suing Tesla over the whole debacle. They had tried to get a federal judge to block Musk from making tweets about the ongoing case, noting that if Musk continues to tweet about the SEC and 420 tweets, it could prejudice potential jurors. Musk claimed this week that he did indeed have the funding, but states that the SEC coerced him into settling out of court. This one is going to get very messy. Cake is unlike most electric motorcycle companies out there. That is undeniable. While some companies have gone for high-ticket, high-powered models, Cake has split its lineup into two, focusing on one side with lightweight off-road bikes and on the other with easy-to-ride utility bikes. And this week it's just added 3 new models to its lineup. Unlike past models, though, which were marketed at everyone from bikers to car drivers, these ones have a very specific target audience. Children. Called Ready, Steady and Go, respectively, the 3 machines are designed to start Cake customers off young with a balance bike, single-speed mountain bike and kid-size electric off-roader, respectively. Honestly, they all look great fun, and the Mini Trails bike looks perfect for those who would otherwise be running around on tiny 2-strokes. So, good job. And finally, how long should an automaker keep parts on hand for a vehicle after it ends production? Some people will tell you it's 8 years, others 10. But the reality is that the law in most countries is a bit nebulous when it comes to parts for no longer in production vehicles. In the US, where there's no de facto law, it's generally expected that automakers keep car parts for as long as it would take for all warranty periods on said vehicle to run out. Which, in the case of the Chevrolet Spark EV, would mean 8 years after the last Spark EVs rolled off the production line. Yet this week, EV Resource claimed that it has confirmation from GM insiders that the company has run out of replacement battery packs for the Chevrolet Spark EV, the company's precursor to the Chevrolet Bolt EV, and plans not to get any more. Given that the car had 2 different battery suppliers during its production, that complicates matters. But what's more pressing is the fact that some Spark EVs are still under warranty, making us wonder what would happen if an in-warranty Spark EV had a battery issue that needed addressing. We are, of course, going to be digging into this one for sure. And on that rather sad note, we're done for the day. But before I go, do make sure you've hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest in EV news from this channel, both from myself and the wonderful Gavin Kiwi EV Shoebridge. And of course, if you haven't already switched, do consider switching to New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. It is super easy to do, and when you do switch to ecotricity.co.nz, you're going to be helping New Zealand wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. I'll be back next week with more awesome content, but until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm Nikki Gordon Bloomfield. Ka kite! See you next time.